Yeah, welcome back to this week's episode of Ouens with Opinions. My name is Dane, and in this week's episode, we will be discussing lockdown that took place in South Africa. So sit back, relax, and let's get to the topic. Enjoy. So yes, let's start today. So I have Daniel, Ashraf here with me today. How are you guys doing this evening?
Awesome. We just had a. I don't want to use the word blessed. We just had a. I just used the word awesome. Why am I doing this? We just had an amazing session of karaoke.
Hey,
And I think that the steam really
Yeah.
it messed with you, bro.
Yeah, like I
The
can't
steam.
even explain what happened to me, but just know it was amazing.
And I don't
Quite
think we
jam.
want to dive into what took place, but in any case,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey man, we had fun, bro.
away.
It was fun.
How's your Sunday, Mr. Dan? Did you have a good day today?
Yeah, the Sunday was chilled. Went to boardwalk. We're just chilling there. And it's looking good, eh? When it gets completed, it's gonna be like an awesome place.
Ash and I were there this afternoon as well.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they really scaled down on the game center, bro. And for me, a game center really its own. You know?
Yeah, no. But they look like they're gonna develop further into the.
Yeah, they are. They are.
You think so?
Yeah, they're still working on it. I heard there's gonna be a Woolies and a Checkers, and then there's probably gonna be other stuff as well.
Okay.
But that was my Sunday chill. Went there, came back, ate cold food, ESCOM.
Hey,
I couldn't
Bloody
finish my
ESCOM.
lunch, so I said, let me go play basketball because I saw people playing basketball. I shouldn't have gone. I know I shouldn't have gone, but ESCOM forced me.
hey, bro.
So
It's just one of those things.
and now I'm not feeling a-okay, but we had a great session. Like
Yeah,
I
true,
said,
man.
so that was my Sunday. How about y'all guys?
Hey man, now like for me it started off a bit slow, doing washing and everything. But eventually we went out preaching. And that went very well. We reached a whole lot of people. So yeah,
it's quite busy today, no?
Yeah, it was. Surprisingly, but I think you nailed it on the air day with the whole. It's payday today.
Yeah.
It's payday.
That payday swag that the people had
bro,
today.
I mean, we still so
My
many
guy. I want to add on to that when it gets to my side. Sorry, Ash.
Nah, I mean you can go ahead. Bro.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mentioned to Ash when we basically part of a missionary group for those that don't know.
Yeah.
And we go out into the different areas in Port Elizabeth. And what we find is that people's attitudes towards the gospel when it's certain times of the month. That's the funny part. That's like when they're struggling, then they're like open to discussions.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the week that they got paid, then it's like a different story. What do you say, Ash?
Yeah, man. Then they're like, we serving mammon today.
Hey, but hey, man.
That's very deep back there.
Hey, bro.
That's their business. But yeah, Ash,
True,
anything
man.
else, my friend?
Nah, man. Then we had a really sick jam session here with Mr. Dan. So yeah, man, it was a very chill day today.
Nah.
I had a nap.
Oh, lekker, man.
Yeah, I needed it.
We were supposed to record a bit earlier.
Yeah, we I went to bed quite late last night, or this morning I should say. So.
That's another discussion on another day.
100%.
It's that McDonald's, bro. Kept him awake in his bed. I can't believe I ate
Hey,
that.
man. No. But
Yeah, man, that was me. How about you, brother, man?
Yeah, well, my day also started a bit early, of course. We went out to go and spread the gospel, of course.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I had some lunch at home and then pulled through here to Dan's place here in Summerstrand. But that's where we're currently recording. We're obviously going to move on to different places. Hopefully, like at my place next time when I move into this new space.
Yeah, Cape Flats.
Yeah, for this nigga. I'm not the Cape Flats, my guy.
Hey guys, what's wrong with the Cape Flats, man? Come on now.
No, it's what's the word? Luxurious.
Imagine the Cape Flats, me, bro.
Don't go there.
It's a lot of fun, exciting.
A lot of entertainment, eh?
Away. But it ain't the Cape Flats though. I'm still gonna be in PE, of course.
Yeah.
But new challenges. Never lived alone, so
Okay.
it should be interesting.
Man, all the best with that, bro.
Away.
Yeah, all the best. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's gonna be.
Away.
I'm sure it's
be a
gonna
good
be
one, man.
eight dagen.
Away.
Beide goeie uitdaging die ze hebben. So,
But yeah, let's get down to business, of course.
Yes.
Today's topic that we wanted to speak about is lockdown in South Africa. Okay. So Ashraf had a website that he pulled up earlier with regards to what the word lockdown actually means.
Okay.
Ash, do you still have it there with you, my friend?
Okay, well, basically, there's two different types of lockdowns because we have to like take into consideration there was one the lockdown which is like on a worldwide scale.
Okay.
So I wanted to find out what the definition of that is, right? So
Yes, sir.
I just duck goed it.
Hey.
Oh, duck, go.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
rely on
yeah.
that, dog.
Yeah. So here's what it says. It says a protocol followed in an emergency that involves confining people in a secure place, such as the confinement of a prison or of prison inmates in cells after a disturbance, or the locking of students and teachers in classrooms after a violent attack. The second definition is a situation in which this protocol is undertaken. And the third is a facility such as a prison where people considered to be dangerous are locked inside living quarters or otherwise confined. So that was very interesting.
That is interesting.
Then there was this website called prison.laws.com.
What does it say?
Yeah, it says certain cases, these are situations that may occur in penitentiaries where extra security measures will have to be taken.
Yeah.
This can happen when inmates get involved in fights with rival prison gangs, incite a riot, or someone gets murdered within the prison facility. So yeah, like I don't want to read the entire thing, but basically a full prison lockdown can last for an undetermined amount of time, and prisoners
Hectic.
and prisoners will be restrained strictly to their cells. This may mean that meals may be suspended during this time, and free time privileges and use of the courtyard will be suspended. So that is very interesting.
Okay. So reading those definitions of lockdown, what are your thoughts?
Basically, it's confinement. Mostly against your will because of an external event that has taken place, that is threatening, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What are your opinions on this, man? Like,
Well, just
what was the lockdown for you?
yeah.
How
It's a good question.
you know?
To be honest, after listening to that, how is it that the world and the government decided to use that phrase itself or that word, lockdown, and equated it to COVID-19?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, that was literally our lives for the past 2 years.
Yeah, 100%. We've been like confined in our own personal space, and if you go out, you'd have to follow certain protocols. You know? And that will, in inverted commas, endanger other people.
Yeah.
So then you had to follow certain rules, which included wearing a mask, which we
Mm-hmm.
know is kind of dangerous.
Because
of like the different fibers that you're breathing in, and not to mention the CO2 emissions that you're constantly breathing in, which is highly dangerous.
Your own CO2 basically.
Yeah.
Hectic.
So I don't know, man. That it seemed like it was for me. Okay, I'm happy that lockdown restrictions are gone, but I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, and Mr. Dan, what do you think about reading that definition or listening to that? What does that make you think?
Boring. No.
This nigga.
Yeah, I was just thinking of boredom because you were restricted to what is this, or confined to a certain your house or a certain area. Yeah. So in terms of what you guys were talking about now, like in terms of the South African context, like masks and all of that stuff, and even the government using that specific word. Yeah, it's kind of suspicious maybe for some, wondering why did they have that specific
what was the
approach,
purpose now?
the specific approach, the specific rules and regulations they had and all of that stuff. Did they really think it through? Are there any ulterior motives and all of that stuff? So a lot of questions come up, but I think they'll be answered as we go through the podcast.
To be honest, in hindsight, we realizing that was really necessary because luckily for us, we don't live in like crowded cities. We are more spaced out, I should say.
Yeah.
In South Africa, because people live on properties of their own, and it's a fair distance between each house. So in that case, was coronavirus, COVID-19, the whole thing, was it really gonna spread as quick as a city where people are living in flats which are on top of each other? If you think about it.
Yeah, that's also
in hindsight, of course.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation, because I think you can't treat everybody the same, especially like, okay, let me give my story. Obviously, I was here in PE during lockdown. I remember talking to my parents and people who were back in Kimberley, and they were like,
I wanted to ask you as well, did you ever go home?
No, I didn't go home.
Oh.
I actually thought this lockdown was gonna be like for a month or so. So I thought we were gonna get back to
we all did though.
Yeah. So I thought, like, I don't want to go back home now. And the other thing was, I paid the rent on the place where I was staying. I couldn't like skip a month, and so I thought it was gonna be a short thing. I didn't think this virus was gonna be such a big deal. So when I realized that, oh no, it's gonna be a longer lockdown, it was too late for me to travel in between provinces, because I know family is in Northern Cape and I was in the Eastern Cape. So it was too late that I had to stay on in Eastern Cape until I got to go home in December. So, but I'm trying to say that in the Northern Cape, or at least in Kimberley, people weren't adhering, because for them there's so much space between the people that they were like, we're not getting any cases here. So we're just gonna go on with life. And Northern Cape for the longest had the least amount of COVID restrictions and whatsoever. No, COVID cases. That's what I wanted to say.
So they like carried on as normal, of course.
Yeah, they carry on. I heard people were going to play football, people visiting each other and all of that stuff.
And going to shopping malls, how was it in
I don't know about shopping malls, but I would assume that they were still going to the shopping malls in Kimberley. But here in PE, I was staying in Ouens at the time, and it was a ghost suburb.
Wow.
Like this main road here, empty.
Really?
Leeg.
That's crazy.
Like so people actually really took this serious, Like they really listened to what was being issued to them, and they took it like with a very serious.
And it was because of the fear that was generated.
Definitely.
And
do you think the fear is still the same, like that level of fear?
Nah.
Like after 2 years of lockdown?
Bro, nah. Like, I mean, I get the question, right? Because you still find people after the regulations have been lifted up still wearing masks.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
And that's baffling for me.
I just want to add as well, ever since lockdown started, there was like a period of 3 weeks that I actually believed it, because the fear around it, people were acting different. Our company sent us home. At that time I worked as a learnership that time. They sent us home with a laptop and everything.
Wow.
Provided us internet, of course. We just didn't work, but anyway, I had to get my own internet at the end of the day, but in any case, the fear around it, even my colleagues at the time, there was a lady that was crying in the office as well. I'm thinking to myself, like,
wow, shame, man.
Okay. I mean, we don't know much about it, but the emotions were running high because people were fearful of what they heard in online and on TV and what our government was saying, rather than actually having experienced it themselves. So we got sent home. I believed it for a month or two, and then I started to question, to be honest. I'm sure we all reached that point where something's not right. Or what, Ayash?
I mean, I've always been down the rabbit hole, man. So I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm always into these kind of things. You know, very. I think research is very, very important, and self-research as well. Not just accepting what is out there and given to you. I think we need to broaden our perspectives all the time, because that is growth after all,
asking questions.
We have to be asking questions. Is this really what it is, and what is the reasoning behind that? Is there an like Daniel was saying, is there an agenda? Like
an ulterior motive,
what's up with that? Is it literally just adding fear to the society? Is that really the goal? Or is it subliminal programming.
Yeah.
You know, to get the masses to actually get used to the notion of a lockdown. You know, listening to
That's
the
a
state.
good question, though.
You know?
Yeah.
So all these kind of things like that are happening, we can't just like accept them. We have to question. You know, like what is the real purpose of this entire
we're actually going to move on to that part of this topic as well.
Okay.
We are going to ask the question and provide answers of was it necessary, you know, for this whole thing. But before we move on, thanks for your thoughts there. You made me remember that now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dan, you want to add anything else to what the lockdown was to you? And then if there's nothing you want to add, then Ash can also just add on top of that.
Now, for me, my attitude was I was really nonchalant.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, Dad, okay, you're gonna have to stay at home. No, for real, it's lockdown. I was nonchalant about it.
What did you do though during that time?
Like, I remember, what was it? I guess I was just taking in what was going out.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, we're chilling,
Yeah.
we ain't doing schoolwork, we ain't doing that, so we're just chilling, whatever the case may be. And I don't think for me, honestly, for the most part of this pandemic, I don't think I ever found I was like too like, you know, over the place with it.
Okay.
I was just like, oh, is this what they're saying now? Is this what's happening in that country? Okay. And I'll probably just like, if it was schoolwork, check up schoolwork. If it was watching up a series, listening to music, whatever, going to buy. So I'll be honest, I was honestly nonchalant about it. I wasn't too like, oh, I need to research like something like this. If information came up, I would like listen to it if I could and be like, okay. And if they would be saying something, I'd be like, okay. But I'm not just taking things at face value.
Of course.
I just felt like, okay, this is probably something that's happening. People are gonna have to go through it. I wasn't really anxious.
Yeah.
You obviously at a point where like thinking, okay, like what if, because of how they were presenting and obviously the media was putting it forth.
Yeah.
You were thinking like, what if something like happens to my family member?
Yeah.
What if something happens to my dad or my, and you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then, what's this? I didn't dwell too much on it.
Okay.
And then I would be like, and because for the most part, nothing happened to anybody in my family that I know of. I was just like, okay, just went on with life. Is this how we're gonna be living now? That's so. I confess.
Okay.
Hey man, we have to be honest about these things, you know, like, cause every one of us have like a different perspective and view on the matter, you know.
And I mean, like, this is probably just a short edition. And I remember even Dane or even Chad speaking about the whole thing. And I would be like, they would always be giving information, and I'd be like, okay, see this, then. And sometimes I would concur with stuff that they're saying. I probably read up and stuff. But I wasn't as invested as they were.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I was invested. I was just.
But you were just keeping up to date. I wasn't keeping up to date. Like, if information came to me, it came to me.
Yeah.
And because of maybe the people I was interacting with, they would be saying this, they would be saying that. They would be, oh, this other thing. There was a period where I would always check the map to see, like, in PE, like, because PE was becoming a hotspot, like Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Apparent a hotspot,
Yes, I was like,
I don't know how they even measured that anyway, but.
People confessing I got COVID.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But either way, that was just all in all my I was mostly nonchalant when it came to the lockdown and how everything started.
And you, Ash?
It really felt for me at the beginning, you know, I sort of saw or knew that something big was going to happen just because of the way things were looking in 2019. There was a whole lot of leaked information that I came across. Literally, I saw a couple of YouTube videos where people were holding up 2 spray cans of disinfectant spray, and one had a label of May 2019. And the other had like it in April, but the one of the later month had SARS coronavirus on it, and it hadn't been out yet. So that was a bit puzzling for me, and this I found in 2019. This was before lockdown, and then also there'd been like $1 trillion transactions and contributions to global warming and climate change.
So money was moving around basically.
Money was really moving around while we are being distracted by this whole lockdown thing, or the threat of coronavirus. You know, because it was big in China. You know, but that was only towards the end of the year. You know, that's when it became a thing, because
like December time.
Yeah. Because like COVID only hit us like in 2020.
Yes. Around about March, no?
Yeah. Because there were like 10 people that came from Italy or something. Apparently, that's how it got here.
That's the story they gave us, basically.
That's the story, and I couldn't believe that. I found it very hard. You know, I was like, no. But I mean, this is just my opinion, you know.
What about
I'm not saying it's true.
There was also Germans that had it, remember?
There was...
Remember that story as well? Like the Germans were like stuck in a... no.
Oh yeah, like at a lodge.
Yes, you remember that? Then they had to like stay in like a motor vehicle, that RV type things, city to city buses.
Hectic.
They had to stay in it until a certain period. That's what they showed us on the media.
So
then everybody was like, "Ooh, these Germans have COVID."
And like
you know.
Side story, like apparently the woman that brought the virus to PE.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah, I remember a friend at the time.
Remind them.
A friend at the time, she told me that the woman that brought the virus to PE was a colleague of a friend's mother.
Hectic.
So apparently she came from Germany.
Okay.
Came back.
Okay.
And then I think at the airport or at a workplace, she was working for BMW or VW or something. She showed symptoms. But then she was like, no, it's not the symptoms and whatsoever. So she went along interacting with people and all of that stuff. Then later on, find out she did have the virus. So now they had to go like through all the people, you know, like where they had to go
screening,
screening and test everybody you interacted with and all of that stuff. And she was very, what is the word? Rebellious in a sense, like she didn't want to say I got the virus.
Or quarantine, basically. I think that's how it also went down.
Yeah, and then she was ultimately quarantined. And I mean, that's I don't know if that's the legend of how the virus came to PE or to the Eastern.
That's the story they gave us.
It's really crazy, man. So I was like questioning all these things, you know, and I was like, no man, this can't be. So I went into more research in depth, and I found out like a whole lot of things. I'm not too sure whether they're trustworthy sources or not, but you know, I just knew something was going to happen. And during the whole lockdown, it really felt as if I was a prisoner, not gonna lie, you know, not having access to certain things, seeing how desolated desolate the place looks, you know. Like,
where were you during lockdown?
I was in 2019. I was still in Port Alfred.
Okay.
So then everything came up, you know.
And Port Alfred's already so quiet now.
It's already so quiet, and people were just like, I think a lot of people were in fear.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of people were in fear. I mean, I lost two of my relatives to COVID, so it was like in that time. But what was strange about that is that they both passed away in the hospital, whereas other people that hadn't or had COVID and they hadn't gone to the hospital,
they quarantined at home, basically.
Yeah, they quarantined at home. They recovered from COVID. So that was something that added to my suspicion. And so I don't quite agree with the narrative that is given. And I mean, forgive me. Don't shoot me for that. But
definitely
that's just my opinion.
This is your opinion.
And I mean, that's my side.
Okay, and we've both covered all our sides as well. So the next question is, what are the consequences of lockdown that you have noticed? I'm start with Mr. Dan.
Woo!
Consequences. Maybe like a few ideas that you know.
Now, I mean, for me as a student, bro, and a student that studies mechanical engineering.
Just putting it out there.
The consequence of a lockdown was we couldn't be on campus.
So
we had to take a practical degree, and I know most of our lecturers were clueless, or the department was clueless on how we're going to do this. And take a practical degree that's mostly practical and take it fully online. Which was a struggle, still is a struggle, because our department is still acting like it's 2020. because they still
For
have
real?
it fully online. Yeah.
Nah, bruh.
Like, and it baffles me, but I'm not gonna go into that.
That's weird.
We just dropped all the regulations and they're still treating it like it's 2020.
But I mean, like, for the
2020,
past,
yeah.
Hey
mean,
man,
sorry.
they put a lot of work into recording those videos and
Oh my gosh. Now it's time to work now.
No, they're using old videos they recorded.
Oh my
Really?
gosh,
They're
bruh.
repeating videos.
Wow.
Are you serious? What you paying them for?
Good question.
Recorded videos.
So,
Badly.
so first of all, academically, that's the consequence of it. For degrees that were more on a practical level,
Yeah.
you couldn't go to workshops or to labs anymore, so you had to learn stuff online, which is not good, especially if you're doing a practical degree.
Yeah.
The other thing was like, just the normal ability of being able. Not everybody had like a house with space. Not
Yeah.
everybody has a house with space. You know, you
Yeah.
can go into your garden.
Yeah.
You know, you have a swimming pool, whatever.
True.
So other people had to live in already confined or difficult spaces, and you're forcing them to stay there for the whole day.
Yeah.
To be honest, some people, the best part of the day was stepping out of the house to go do something,
True.
and then come back for a few hours, and then so that's another consequence, because like a lot of people might have had to deal with stuff that they didn't have to deal with when they were able to leave the house.
Yeah.
I think personally, for me, those are the two things I can think about.
And how frustrating was it for you to be in like a small confined space?
Yeah, the frustration is not being able to go out when you want to go out. And if you go out, you know, like that, something might happen. I might just be picked up by the police or the army and taken to prison.
Yeah.
And whatsoever the case is, be treated like whatever they would treat you like, because you never know how some of these army people are feeling
Definitely.
on a certain day. So,
And you know, some people weren't lucky to stay with family or friends, you know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
people have stayed solo. And now, you know, you living away from Kimberley, of course. How did you find the lockdown experience alone?
I was staying with a friend I was staying with like two friends at the time.
Yeah.
The thing it was kind of what's this it was a different dynamic, man, because being able to go out and come back, you have your interactions. But I think the fear, because even in your house sometimes you're thinking like, maybe I need to distance myself from the person I'm staying with, because I don't know if they have the virus, and I'm gonna get it, and then it's another So even in houses sometimes, depending on the people, you would distance yourself, and I think that was the case with us. We would interact sometimes if you go to the kitchen to cook, or
That's very interesting, eh? Like
that
how
was the
how
dynamic.
like even households were divided internally.
and like
It's crazy.
And if somebody had COVID, I remember like a friend told me her mother had COVID because she was a nurse, and then her mother had to stay in a certain room the whole day, and they would just like put food in
That's
front of
crazy.
the door for her, and then and then they would do whatever.
People are extreme, my guy.
That's a bit excessive.
That's what families have to go through. She told me that she like assumed the household responsibilities that her mother would do, while her mother was still recovering, and her mother recovered, and you know.
Okay.
But
That's great.
they like honestly, brother. And you obviously have the other people who didn't care or whatever, you know. I've heard people tell me like, we were out here, well, obviously they were not out here, but they were having people come.
I saw the videos, bro.
You see, so
the Corona song as well.
That is a biggie.
That was crazy.
Yeah, man, all those people who were part of that.
They're still alive today, bro.
They're still alive.
I bet they're still alive today. Shout out to y'all making a Corona song and still surviving it. Now you all are aced it, bro.
Well, he's calling it okay, but that was my
your side, Mr. Ash. Thanks,
the
Dan.
consequences of lockdown was definitely division. For me at least.
Between
society in general, you know, just people's different viewpoints, and if you're not conforming to society regulation, like the society's regulation, you're seen as a enemy of the state almost, you know, and you know how alienation works, you know. People are treated like outcasts, and just because they have a certain level of deviance, you know, to the societal norm, which is out there, you know. So deviants are always treated like differently and exiled, and kind of like as crazy, you know. So yeah, I think that was like one of the consequences, which were very prevalent at the time. You know,
Okay.
I was really, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty comfortable with the lockdown because being
You
an
were.
introverted person, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
extroverts that I knew of, they
Yeah.
were kind of very. They were feeling very depressed.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
like not being able to go out and do their regular routine. You know, going out for drinks with friends
Yeah.
and things like that. You
Yeah.
know, and that really weighed them down.
Mm.
And I think it kind of like drove them to the point of just doing what the government says instead of really
Yeah.
like thinking about things and thinking things through and doing their own research.
Yeah.
And you know,
So it definitely had an effect for different types of people.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and I feel that the vision was very critical. You know, like you know, divide and conquer type of thing. You know,
Divided in your own household. No?
I mean that is so crazy. Like that story that
That's how
Daniel
deep
just
it went,
mentioned.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, leaving food in front of like
Hectic.
wow, that is crazy. I mean, like I had family members that had COVID,
Yeah.
and they were in the same household,
Yeah.
and they would be eating together, they would
Yeah.
be drinking together,
Yeah.
and none of the other family members would get sick, you know, or
Mm.
get the virus, you know. So
Mm.
that's very strange that people reacted so differently. But
That's
the
true.
consequence, I feel like the consequence of lockdown was, I think it was just like Dan said, you know, like just a whole lot of that, like what Dan said. I really agree with that viewpoint, but I
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
I would like to say that the rules and the regulations,
Yeah.
you know, these new laws that they implemented, you know,
Yeah.
these were like huge consequences, and I
Yeah.
feel like economically we also suffered a lot because
Yeah.
of
Yeah, we did.
lockdown, you know.
Yeah.
Businesses were failing, people
lot of
were getting
businesses closed down, yeah.
unemployed, and people were being dismissed at work for not following certain protocols, you know. So yeah, it was crazy, just all the amount of things that were happening at the time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
In the face of uncertainty, you wanted to say something, Daniel?
Now I'm just thinking, you mentioned the economic aspect of it for certain
Yeah.
households.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
not being able to go to a work,
Sure.
maybe
And
like what,
provide,
That's sad,
you
actually.
know, for
like
their
a daily
families.
wage. Some people are getting a daily wage, weekly wage.
Yeah, yeah.
And then now they have to now.
To be losing
yeah,
that.
I can't imagine how such households had to. I mean,
Cope,
obviously the
yeah.
grant came along, the social or whatever that thing.
300 rand though. Come on, guys.
It's not gonna
It's not
sustain.
gonna sustain you.
Yeah, a big
But-
consequence was the
But the loyalty was there. We have to say it, like the
Loyalty?
loyalty. Yeah, of the people. You know, you
Mm.
see those lines. You know, like huge lines of people waiting for their grants.
Yeah,
people
yeah,
waiting all day for the
Yeah.
300 rand.
And
so that they
the
can
number of
sustain
people
themselves.
now receiving the grants has now increased now effectively because of COVID, which is also where I will also mention the consequences.
Yeah.
Consequences, of course, is economically, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
We're seeing more poor people on the streets at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We see more poor people on the streets. Fortunate enough for myself, my family, we were all in the same house, so I had that support of parents and sisters. And the truth is, we never really felt like a loss because all of us were still employed by the companies that we worked for, and we all still had our incomes. By the grace of God, we were able to get through it, of course.
Amen.
And then the other thing, what I've noticed is that there is also a huge push on new policies that companies have now taken on
Yeah.
under the guise of COVID-19 protocols, thinking that now that it's over, that protocols should fall away. But for some reason, those protocols have now become part of the company policies,
Yeah.
like a policy that includes for PC etiquette.
Yeah.
Why is COVID-19 now part of the workplace now? It's still there in place, even if COVID is officially over, according to this week. Yeah, we recently been freed from our chains, of course, but for how long is the question?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something
Hey,
that we're
man.
gonna dive into later.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just gonna say, like, it was good to be in a shop without a mask.
Yeah, no.
Seeing
Definitely.
people actually like emotionally, like see them smiling back at you. You know.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that there are still people wearing masks.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah,
that is
that's-
subjective, you know, because you know you come from a perspective where these people might genuinely be fearful.
Yeah.
Maybe they have some kind of illness that they don't wish to
Okay.
like pass on to other people.
Okay.
So I don't really have anything against that. It is kind of absurd, you know, thinking like, okay, listen, guys, it's done now.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure like
Yeah.
most people they took the measures to protect themselves. You know, so why still fear? You know,
Yeah.
like if
Yeah.
you trust everything that the government says,
No, definitely.
you know.
What do you think, Dan?
No, I just think, as you pointed out, there some people's personalities and demeanors are just very anxious and fearful.
It's,
They'll go the extra steps, bruh, to, oh, it's not that out, but you never know what you can catch and all that stuff. So it's like, what did I want to say? Who told me that, like, somebody was like, somebody said that, what is this? That a woman in a video call, like a meeting,
Yeah.
like a company video call, she was uncomfortable having her colleagues not wear masks
Oh,
during the video call.
during the video call.
No
What?
ways, bro.
So like imagine, like, I don't know if that's how fearful she was, but how can you feel unsafe because your colleagues on a video call
That's just
that
are
is
not
very
wearing
funny, man.
masks?
Oh my word.
So that just shows you that different people were going through different.
Yeah.
And so-
yeah.
It really gets to that point where you're gonna be like, yeah, it's something that's not gonna bother me.
Yeah.
But in that situation, I'm gonna be like, no,
Yeah.
I'm in no way harming you.
Yes.
Why must I wear a mask in front of my camera?
Of course.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but like you're saying that for different people, whatever the reasons
Yeah.
there.
And
I-
and just to dive into that as well, what this is now has done is it set a precedent now in everywhere we go now.
Yeah.
Even if you're gonna have to enter a shopping center in the future, they're still gonna have the idea that if a pandemic had to break out, that there would be a protocol, which means that now there's something hindering you from getting into the shopping center, into the
Yeah.
place of business,
Yeah.
which you are gonna have to show proof of
Yes.
in order to go
Because I
through.
mean, for me personally, I think this is just a trial run. 2 years is a long time, but I think it is just a trial run.
if this is just a trial run, then look how badly it affected people basically.
Yeah.
What
and
if
I
it's
think,
the full-blown thing?
No, but I think right now, whoever is out there,
Okay.
I don't wanna. I
Don't
can't. Hey man,
we
did
taking
you mention our name?
we're taking a turn here now.
I don't know.
Taking
man.
it
I was
turn
just
for
told-
your hat.
Whoever's out there, and
theories
and
coming
this-
up.
Whoever's orchestrating whatever events are happening.
Of course.
I think this whole trial run was they really gathered some good scientific and
information, data, and
yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff.
They really, this was a great research opportunity for them to see how how different people react to certain things.
The
you know.
compliant versus the
Yes.
non-compliant.
Yeah, you
And
know,
also,
what
man-
is rebellion? You know.
And you know what? On a honest step,
Hectic.
this might get me assassinated, bro.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
don't say it.
Woo!
Don't say it, man.
Hey man.
You don't have to do this.
Oh lord. no, it's just a personal things. Like one of the reasons that people said this probably happened was for population control.
I heard that.
And
as
one
well.
of the statements was directed at
Yeah.
Africa, saying that
Yeah.
there's too many people in Africa.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all need to chill
This-
with the baby making.
When was this though? I remember hearing something like
It was
that.
probably in 2021
They
or
want-
2020, even from like the beginning.
They wanted to they wanted to test some medicine on us basically.
yeah.
I heard about this in 2016, like about population control in Africa,
Hectic.
and that the place is overpopulated.
Oh,
So,
we.
yeah, apparently
Hectic.
the whole world is overpopulated.
But people believe in that lie.
People are really actually they really believe this, you know.
We are not overpopulated though.
I really disagree with the notion of overpopulation.
There's so much space still.
Yeah.
There's so much space still.
I think what's really happening is that they're viewing the current space that we're occupying
as being
that is the overpopulation.
Working in that type of economy, in that
because I mean they're providing everything that we have,
of course,
or need,
of course,
you know,
in
like
that space,
internet, water, free flowing water, electricity. I mean load shedding is kind of a problem here, but still they are, you know, ESCOM is providing electricity, and you know we know that it's part of government, you know, and we know that all of these necessities are given to us, or you know we pay for them. It's a
basic human right, basically.
But you know, if you go outside of this, you know, moving to a scenario of like being off the grid, those kind of scenarios, you know, like how do those people cope? You know, where do they get their source of energy? Where do they get their source of any resources? You know, food supply, water, clean water. You know, things like this. You know how, you know what's happening out there. How are they surviving? You know, what do they know that we don't know? You know,
it's a kind of like we know with the media they put out there what they want people to believe.
Yes, a certain narrative.
And like you said in the beginning, it takes somebody to say, okay, this is what you're saying. I'm gonna go do my own research. And see if what you're saying adds up. Because what they do is they just spread propaganda.
Yes.
And people who just like take it and then move on with whatever they do.
Without questioning it,
Without questioning it. Because you know sometimes people feel they're so busy, they don't have time to do all the other extra stuff. So that's mainly what they're trying to do, slowly but surely. But that's probably one of the myths that is being perpetuated. That is that the planet is overpopulated. I personally don't think it is. There's so much space to develop into. There's so many alternative means of providing services. But once the system wants to do it a specific way, that's when they can start saying, "Oh, it's overpopulated because this system won't be able to handle so many people."
So
then
how
they
do
can
you
blame
think?
it on
How
that,
do you think the notion of overpopulation correlates to lockdown? Do you think it was like a mass control type of experiment? You know, like how many people can they control?
Wow.
I don't know.
I haven't asked those type of questions, but like I said, if this was just the trial to see the reaction and the compliant versus the non-compliant, I'm worried to see what the actual plan is. You understand? I know we've been thinking about this for quite some time, and I mean these are right questions to ask, but people need to understand that we need to take back our independence. We need to work on becoming self-sufficient, self-sustainable as well. Even you guys hear me say it a lot whenever we go on road trips. Basically, when you travel in South Africa between city to city, what we have found is that there's vast spaces of land available. So the notion of overpopulation is a lie, because of all the farmlands in South Africa specifically, and in Africa specifically as well, there's so much land available, and if each man had his own space, you would actually see that there's a lot of land available. You understand? So I would like to just take a pause over there and mention just a few things. Disclaimer: the contents of the podcast are strictly the views of the Ouens on the podcast. Feel free to follow us on Spotify and Instagram, and to be notified about our new content, and also check out our pilot discussions on YouTube as well. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get back to it.